Your 3-year-old is having another meltdown in the grocery store. You pull out your phone, hand it over, and instantly, silence. Problem solved, right? Not quite. Dr. Jack Shonkoff from Harvard's Center on the Developing Child warns that the seemingly harmless shortcuts we use every single day might be quietly reshaping our children's brains in ways we never intended. Nearly 90% of brain development happens before age 5, which means the daily choices you're making right now, at breakfast, at bedtime, during tantrums, are literally wiring your child's neural architecture. Some of these choices feel like good parenting. Others feel necessary just to survive the day. But 4 common habits that millions of parents rely on are actually interfering with critical brain development. Today we're uncovering what those habits are, why they damage developing brains more than you realize, and most importantly, what you can do differently starting today. The first habit feels impossible to avoid in our modern world: excessive screen time. You know screens probably aren't great, but you might not know just how much damage early exposure actually causes. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends 0 screen time for children under 18 months, except video chatting, and no more than 1 hour of high-quality programming for children ages 2 to 5. Most families aren't anywhere close to meeting these guidelines. When a toddler stares at a screen, whether it's a tablet, phone, or television, their brain enters a passive reception mode. The rapid scene changes, bright colors, and constant stimulation trigger dopamine release, the same neurochemical associated with reward and pleasure. This feels good in the moment, which is exactly the problem. Research published in JAMA Pediatrics found that children with more than 2 hours of daily screen time showed lower scores on thinking and language tests. Brain scans revealed actual structural differences in children with heavy screen use, particularly in areas responsible for language development and executive function. But the damage goes beyond cognition. Excessive screens interfere with the serve and return interactions that Dr. Shonkoff describes as essential for healthy brain architecture. When your child is watching a screen, they're not practicing communication, not reading facial expressions, not engaging in the back-and-forth exchanges that build neural pathways for social connection and emotional regulation. Every hour spent on screens is an hour not spent doing what young brains actually need: moving their bodies, manipulating objects, having conversations, solving simple problems. The developing brain wires itself based on what it experiences most frequently. If screens dominate that experience, the brain literally builds itself around passive consumption rather than active engagement. What can you do instead? Replace just 30 minutes of screen time with real human interaction. Read together, tell stories, let them help you with simple tasks like sorting laundry or stirring ingredients. These activities light up multiple brain regions simultaneously, strengthening language centers, motor cortex, memory systems, and social processing areas in ways screens simply cannot replicate. Yes, screens are convenient. Yes, you need breaks. But convenience today creates consequences tomorrow, consequences written directly into your child's neural architecture. And screens aren't the only modern convenience causing hidden damage. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and turn on bell notification. This helps spread the knowledge to others. Habit number 2 disrupts the brain's most critical maintenance system: inconsistent sleep schedules. You might think that as long as your child gets enough total hours of sleep, the timing doesn't matter much. You'd be wrong. Dr. Jody Mindell, Associate Director of the Sleep Center at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, has published extensive research showing that irregular sleep schedules predict developmental problems, even when total sleep duration seems adequate. Sleep isn't just rest, it's when the developing brain does its most important work. During deep sleep, synaptic connections formed during waking hours get strengthened and consolidated. During REM sleep, memories transfer from temporary to permanent storage. The brain literally practices new skills while your child sleeps, reinforcing motor patterns, language structures, and problem-solving strategies learned during the day. Waste products that accumulate in brain tissue during waking hours get flushed out through the glymphatic system, which operates primarily during sleep. When bedtime constantly shifts, when naps get skipped randomly, when weekend sleep schedules look nothing like weekday schedules, you're interfering with all of these critical processes. Research in the journal Child Development found that children with irregular sleep schedules showed significantly more behavioral problems, lower cognitive test scores, and poorer emotional regulation compared to children with consistent sleep routines. The inconsistency itself causes damage because the brain never fully adapts to a predictable rhythm. Cortisol and melatonin, hormones that regulate the sleep-wake cycle, fail to establish proper patterns. The prefrontal cortex, which requires adequate sleep to function properly, develops less effectively when sleep is chaotic. You see the results in daily life: more tantrums, shorter attention span, difficulty managing frustration, slower learning. These aren't just temporary inconveniences from being tired. They're signs that inconsistent sleep is literally impairing brain development. The solution is simpler than you might think. Establish a consistent bedtime routine and stick to it within a 30 to 60-minute window every single night. Yes, even on weekends. The routine signals to your child's brain that sleep is coming. Bath, pajamas, book, whatever sequence works for your family. The predictability itself helps trigger melatonin release naturally, making it easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. When you maintain consistent sleep schedules, you're giving your child's brain the foundation it needs for everything else to work properly. But even well-rested brains can be damaged by the third habit, one that shocks most parents because it seems completely harmless. Using food as reward or comfort might be the most common parenting shortcut in existence. If you behave at the store, you'll get ice cream. Stop crying and I'll give you a cookie. Finish your homework and you can have candy. These exchanges feel innocent, even positive. You're motivating good behavior and soothing distress. But you're also rewiring your child's brain in dangerous ways. When food becomes the primary tool for managing emotions or incentivizing behavior, the brain's reward system gets hijacked. Dr. Ashley Gearhart, a clinical psychologist at the University of Michigan who studies food addiction, explains that using highly palatable foods, especially those high in sugar and fat, as rewards creates the same neural patterns seen in substance addiction. The brain starts associating comfort and pleasure exclusively with eating. Instead of developing internal emotional regulation skills, children learn to use food to manage feelings. Instead of experiencing intrinsic motivation for good behavior, they become dependent on external food rewards. Over time, this weakens the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for impulse control and decision-making. Research published in Appetite found that children frequently rewarded with food showed significantly less ability to self-regulate eating as adolescents and adults. They were more likely to eat when not hungry, to use food for emotional comfort, and to struggle with weight management. You're not just creating a bad habit, you're literally changing how the reward circuits in their brain function. The neuroscience is clear. Every time you use food to stop a tantrum or reward compliance, you're strengthening neural pathways that link emotional states with eating. You're teaching the brain that distress equals food, that achievement equals food, that boredom equals food. These patterns, established in early childhood when the brain is most plastic, become deeply ingrained and incredibly difficult to change later. What should you do instead? Replace food rewards with connection rewards, extra playtime, special time with you, a trip to the park, verbal praise that specifically describes what they did well. These still activate dopamine reward circuits, but in ways that strengthen social bonds and internal motivation rather than creating food dependency. When your child is upset, teach them to identify and name their emotions. Help them develop coping strategies like deep breathing, physical activity, or talking about feelings. Yes, this takes more effort than handing them a snack, but the effort now prevents a lifetime of disordered eating patterns and poor emotional regulation. And just as shocking, the fourth habit actually looks like excellent parenting on the surface. Overscheduling your child with structured activities seems beneficial. Music lessons, sports teams, educational classes, language instruction. You want to give them every advantage, every opportunity to develop their potential. But when structured activities dominate their schedule, when every moment is planned and directed by adults, you're actually limiting critical brain development. Dr. Peter Gray, research professor at Boston College who studies the importance of play, has shown that unstructured free play is essential for developing executive function, the set of mental skills that includes focus, working memory, cognitive flexibility, and impulse control. These abilities, controlled by the prefrontal cortex, predict academic success, career achievement, and life satisfaction far better than early academic skills do. Free play, the kind where children make up their own games, solve their own problems, negotiate their own conflicts, and follow their own interests, exercises executive function in ways structured activities cannot. When adults direct every activity, telling children what to do and when to do it, children never practice self-direction, planning, or creative problem-solving. Their brains become wired to depend on external structure and stimulation, rather than generating their own. Research from the University of Colorado found that children with more unstructured time showed significantly better executive function skills than children whose schedules were packed with adult-directed activities. The findings held even when controlling for family income and education level, suggesting that free play itself, not just the privilege of having time for it, drives the developmental benefits. When children play freely, they're building the very brain systems that enable success in school and life. They learn to manage boredom by creating their own entertainment. They practice delayed gratification by working towards self-imposed goals. They develop creativity by inventing stories and scenarios. They build social skills by negotiating roles and rules with other children. None of this happens when adults structure and direct every moment. The solution requires going against modern parenting culture. Carve out at least 30 to 60 minutes daily of completely unstructured time. No screens, no scheduled activities, no adult-directed tasks. Give them open-ended materials like blocks, art supplies, or cardboard boxes. Let them play outside unsupervised if safe. Allow boredom, because boredom is the precursor to creativity. This might feel like you're not doing enough, like you're wasting time that could be spent on productive activities. But inside your child's brain, this doing nothing time is building the neural architecture for focus, creativity, planning, and self-control that structured activities simply cannot develop. You're not depriving them of opportunities. You're giving them the most important opportunity of all, the chance to build a brain capable of directing itself. These 4 habits, excessive screens, inconsistent sleep, using food for reward and comfort, and overscheduling, all seem manageable or even beneficial in the moment. Screens buy you peace. Flexible bedtimes feel less stressful. Food rewards work instantly. Packed schedules feel productive. But each one interferes with critical brain development in ways that create problems lasting far beyond childhood. The beautiful truth is that protecting your child's developing brain doesn't require perfection. It requires awareness and small, consistent changes. Reduce screen time and replace it with interaction. Establish predictable sleep routines and maintain them. Stop using food to manage emotions or behavior. Build unstructured free time into every day. These aren't just parenting tips. They're neuroscience-based strategies for giving your child's brain what it actually needs to develop properly. Every choice you make is literally shaping neural architecture that will influence your child's abilities, emotions, and behaviors for decades to come. That's an enormous responsibility, but also an enormous opportunity. Starting today, you can make different choices that build stronger, healthier, more resilient brains. If this video changed how you think about everyday parenting decisions, please like it and share your thoughts in the comments. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe for more science-backed guidance on raising healthy, capable children.